Now, before we go into talking about purpose and alignment, I think it's necessary for us to discuss something that a lot of purpose conversation are too polished to address: the real world. Currently, there's a war going on in Iran. As a result of that war, fuel prices have skyrocketed. Still, just a few days ago, some people were massacred in the city of Jos. People who just wanted to worship and celebrate Palm Sunday. And then when we look at the other things happening in the world around us, our leader can just wake up one day and make a reckless statement or an irrational decision that binds every single one of us. It makes us think and wonder, if this world is so uncertain, why should I chase purpose? What's the essence? Why should I build? Why should I even take this purpose conversation seriously? And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Build with Timmy. Just to remind you, one of the reasons why this channel exists is because I genuinely believe there is no one that was created just to come and pass time in this world and die. I believe that everyone was created for a special purpose and a special reason. However, it's also necessary to acknowledge the fact that we live in a world that is imperfect, is broken. So why should we try to build in a world that is broken? I mean, it's easy to have purpose conversation when things are perfect, when the price of fuel is fine, when people cannot just be worshiping and minding their business and stand the risk of dying. It's very easy to have purpose conversations, but it's necessary to acknowledge the world that we are in now. A lot of us are tired. We're just trying to survive at this point, not even thrive. You just want to pay school fees. You just want to go to work and come back safely. You just want to be able to afford the kind of life you want. And most of the time, that life you're looking for is not even the glamorous one. It's just the basics, just to be able to feed yourself, have decent living, and still, we're talking about purpose. Why should purpose fit into any of this? So, in this video, I acknowledge the world we are in now, the state things are, and I'll give you practical steps on how you can still build and find your purpose. Also, there's a principle as old as creation itself. Light does not wait for darkness to leave before it shines. Light shines in darkness. And the moment light starts to shine, the darkness just begins to leave automatically. So let's talk about our reality today. Fuel prices are so high. I remember the last time I bought fuel for my car and I was like, is this how we're going to continue? This looks as if it is not sustainable. Secondly, there is insecurity. I mean, what does it mean that people are just worshiping, minding their business? They went to church on a Sunday morning and then maybe they are just thinking of jollof rice. Do I want to mix jollof and fried rice? And suddenly they were attacked and they were massacred. Also, there is political instability. Our leader can wake up one day and make a law that binds every single one of us, whether we like it or not. And this directly affects our lives. And then there's the personal issue. Mental health crisis is an all-time high. Right now, almost every single adult is overwhelmed or anxious, or both, in most circumstances. So why would we be having purpose in all of that conversation? And I want to answer it with something that happened in my life. There was a time I said I wasn't going to do any of this again. In fact, then Build with me had not come. I was tired. I was burnt out. I was overwhelmed. And I said I was going to stop. I didn't make a special announcement to tell anybody I would stop. I just decided to stop. I didn't create anything. And I thought that was going to make me happy. It was going to satisfy me. And finally, I will feel at peace and I'll feel better. I didn't feel any of those things. What I felt was emptiness. I was even sadder and more anxious and overwhelmed than I felt before I initially started. And that was something that taught me that not chasing purpose is not going to fill the vacuum that we feel in our lives. If anything, is even going to make it bigger. A vivid example that confirmed all of this that I have said is the life of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was one of those who was imprisoned for 3 years during the Nazis' tenure. And during that period, he lost his wife, he lost his family, he lost every single thing that he had. But despite all of these losses, that experience helped him to write one of the most amazing books in human history, which is titled Man's Search for Meaning. Immediately after he was done with that consecration camp and all of that torture and everything. He came out and he became a better therapist, a better coach, a better person all round. And when he was asked, how come this helped you? Was it that the prison was what happened? He said that the prisoners that survived and the prisoners that came out and still did well after the whole ordeal and experience were people who had a purpose, who had a reason why, who were not just there and wondering when will this time pass. So regardless of whatever circumstance you find yourself in life, one of the things that is going to help you to get through that particular situation, that particular ordeal, whatever it is you consistently having your why, your reason why you should continue to move, your reason why you should not die. Further to this, there was also a research that was carried out by Rush University Medical Center, where they discovered that the people that recovered the fastest were people who had a reason to recover. They usually have the mental capacity and they have the least impact psychologically of whatever it is their physical body is going through. There are other research that back up the fact that having a purpose, having a reason to live helps you to go through whatever circumstances life has thrown at you. I have shared all of this to say that yes, the world is broken, but our excuse for not following purpose or achieving purpose or trying to find purpose in life shouldn't be because the world is broken. So I would like to ask you, now that you have stopped chasing purpose, you're just trying to survive, has the world felt lighter? Have you felt better? For every single person that has ever found their purpose or followed their purpose in life, there's a major question they always have to answer, and I have had to answer it myself. It is the fact that, do I build for a world that may not reward me? Do I build for a world that I might not live to see? Why should I be building in a world that is unsafe and uncertain? Now, the answer to that question is yes, because the other end of it is living a purposeless life, never using your gifts, all the gifts that God had given you before you came to this planet. And that is such a heavy price to pay. And also, down the line, whether you're here or not, that gift that is inside of you, or that thing that you were meant to build, that you refuse to build, might have been something that would save someone else down the line. And you won't have the opportunity to save that person simply because you refused to build. Now, I shared that there was a time I stopped building completely. Let me tell you what brought me back. The number one thing that brought me back was God. I just kept looking at the fact that God couldn't have created me here just to come and exist. There was a fundamental reason why He created me, and I was willing to find that reason. The second major reason was my daughter, my child. She's going to grow up one day to become a young woman. How do I tell her to build purpose? How do I tell her to follow her dreams, to never shrink herself? If she saw me shrink myself, if she saw me succumb to what was happening in the world, that was another major reason why I kept building. I also had to answer the question of what is the essence of building, especially in a country like Nigeria. Maybe you are in the Middle East or you are in somewhere else where security is not guaranteed. What's the purpose of building if you can just die? Well, the answer to that is, for the time that I am here, I know that I did my best. If I leave, it's no more my business what's happening here. So long as I did my best, I think I will be fine. That's a lot better than just waiting, lying, and waiting for the time to pass. Stopping at the time was the safe decision, but I'm grateful I didn't. I'm grateful that God brought me back, my child brought me back, and understanding the fact that whether you pursue purpose or you don't pursue purpose, you will still die anyways. I would also like to share the popular story of Malala Yousafzai. Malala stood up against the Taliban. She went to school and she was shot in her head at the age of 15. She said the day before she was shot, she was scared. But as soon as she got shot and she survived it, she continued to fight for her rights. She continued to speak out. And because of this, she received the Nobel Prize for Peace at the age of 17. And that is still the youngest person who has ever received that. That should teach us something. It should tell us something. That we cannot control the world around us, but we can control our own action. Malala was very aware that she cannot control the Taliban, but she was also very aware that she could control her response to the Taliban. So we should focus on what we can control. There's also another person, Matai, who was planting trees in Kenya consistently. The president arrested her, they tried to punish her, they tried to beat her, they stripped her many times, but she kept planting the trees. These are people that should push us to find purpose. I wish someday to be in the same room with them and ask them, what kept pushing you in the face of death, in the face of oppression, in the face of losing every other thing that supposedly mattered to you? Also, purpose is not just restricted to individuals. It also extends to communities, organizations, families, groups of people. Economics and development researcher Paul Collier, in his research, discovered that communities that build the fastest after a disaster are not usually the people that have the most wealth or the most resources. They are the people that are aligned in purpose. So, my question for you now is, if you know that today was going to be your last day on this planet, are you going to be happy and satisfied with the way you spent it? You don't need to feel bad. You don't need to answer that. What that should do is propel you to be more intentional about how you live your life tomorrow. Now, it's not just enough for you to find your why you are supposed to be here, why you're supposed to be living. It's even more important for you to know how you can protect that why. The first step is to ensure you anchor yourself daily before the world gets in. Have that 5 or 10 minutes for yourself alone. When you wake up, the first thing you should do is not pick up your phone to see what the latest news is on social media or the latest post is doing on social media. Before you start seeing what they are saying on WhatsApp, what crisis they are talking about, what bad news people are spreading, or even good news people are spreading, it's important that you enter the place of stillness. You have your alone time, your thoughts between yourself and your maker, and you just sit still. It can be journaling, it can be praying, it can be anything really, but ensure that the world does not take that time from you. So now, one practical step I will give you is adjust your routine, your morning routine, and ensure that you have at least 10 to 20 minutes where you do you, that you're just alone with your thoughts. No distraction, nothing of the world, just you alone. The second step you should take is to separate your circle of concern from your circle of control. This is something that the author Stevie Covey shared. He said that you should separate the things that you cannot control. So for instance, what happened in Jos is something that we cannot control. What is going on in the economy is something that a lot of us cannot control. But you can control your reaction to it. You can control what you're going to be doing. You can control being there for the people in Jos, helping them to grieve. You can control providing for them, the people that have lost their properties, they've lost their resources, their money, and so many other things. You can control your reaction by actually being there for them. One practical tip I'll give you is every single time that you see yourself getting too consumed over things that are out of your control, pause and ask yourself, what is the one thing I can control in this situation? And begin to do that thing. Step 3 is to build small. Build consistently, build anyway, keep building. There will always be reason why you shouldn't follow purpose, you shouldn't build, you shouldn't do anything. The world will never stop giving you a reason. Time will never become perfect. The time to start that business will never be perfect. The time to start taking that professional course will never be perfect. The time to start pursuing purpose will never be perfect. But you just have to start anyways. I have seen people who said, oh, the time is not right, and because of that, they postponed purpose or they just gave up or stopped. More often than not, they always regretted it. And there's one other thing that shocks me is the fact that they've not come to realize that it's probably not too late for them to start anyway. So the world will never be comfortable enough for you to start. The world keeps giving me reason every single day why I should stop chasing my dreams. More often than not, most of the reasons the world will give you are valid reasons why you should stop. But you should never stop. Just keep building little by little. Sometimes I know it will get overwhelming. That's when you should pause. Take a break if you need to. But as soon as you get back, as soon as you feel a little better, you get back on track. You will be far happier knowing that you pursued purpose than abandoning it. One thing we must always remember is that we are not building for a particular outcome, because you can never tell what the outcome will be. But we are building because that's what we are made for. Remember that you do not need the world to cooperate with your purpose, but you need to cooperate with your purpose. So start now, start small, start today, and continue to build. So now, Just to summarize all we have discussed today and bringing it all together. The world is broken and it will continue to be broken. That doesn't mean that we should not find our purposes and live purposefully in life. Every single person that lived a purposeful life did it despite the broken world. I want you to remember these 3 things. First of all, purpose is not a luxury that you find when things are stable. It's something you build when the world is unstable. In fact, your purpose might be what will bring stability into an already unstable world. Secondly, you cannot control the world, but you can control your reaction to what is happening in the world. So focus on what you can control. Finally, start. Start now. Start today. Take baby steps. You don't have to do everything. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be grand, but start. Stopping does not bring you peace. I am a living witness of that. You will just feel emptiness. Of course, you will continue with your activity, but you would know at the back of your mind that you were made for more. So, as we close this conversation today, I want to challenge you to do 3 things within the next 1 week. The first one is, every time you wake up going forward, you're not going to pick up your phone first. You're going to give yourself at least 5 minutes alone with your thoughts in stillness. The second one is, you separate what you can control from what you cannot control. You hear of a disaster, you think of what you can do about it and focus on what you can do about it instead of getting overwhelmed by what you cannot control. Finally, do one thing that is in alignment with your purpose. Before I go, I would like to talk especially to parents. Our children are watching. Your children are seeing what you're doing. They're seeing whether you're chasing purpose or you're just chasing money. But they're seeing whether you're shrinking yourself or you're moving with boldness. So it's very important that you show them how you want them to live their life. Now, I'll ask you a question. What's the one thing that is stopping you from living purposefully? You can share with me in the comments, and if you don't want to share it with me in the comments, you think it's too private, all you need to do is send an email to buildwithamy@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. So if this video resonated with you, if any of the ideas I had shared about following purpose and why it's important said yes in your mind, then I'll be inviting you to a 4-part series where I'm going to be giving you practical steps on how you can find and build purposeful life in this world as it is, not the perfect world that we all envision, but this particular world that we are living in. So all you need to do is subscribe, click the notification button so that you do not miss any of this series, and also like it and share it with as many people as you know. We are talking about purpose here, and every single individual that has graced this planet owe it to themselves to find their purpose. And that's it on this episode of Build with Amy. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, every other thing that cool people and purposeful people like you do. My name remains Temitope, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 1.